The Bold and the Beautiful B&B recap for Thursday, July 10th shows that Deacon Sharp Sean Cannon delivered some bad news for Sheila Sharp Kimberlyn Brown, while dishonestly Finnegan Naomi Matsuda claimed Luna Nozawa Lisa Yamada passed away while recovering. Lee used some Nozawa power during Luna's surgery to help her recover after she flatlined. Bridget Forrester, Ashley Jones, discussed Luna returning to prison after she was stable and her treatment was finished. Lee countered, though, that they should proceed cautiously. Bridget offered to drive Luna to recuperation and conceded that there might be post-operative issues, but Lee indicated she could handle everything on her own. Lee was obviously very sympathetic to Luna and informed her that she didn't deserve this. Sheila wanted to know how Luna and Liam Spencer, Scott Clifton, were doing after she woke up from her own surgery. Although she didn't have any fresh information, Grace Buckingham, Cassandra Creech, discussed pain medication with Sheila and advised her to prioritize herself at the moment. Deacon showed up and expressed relief that Sheila had survived that terrible experience. Unfortunately, Deacon acknowledged that Sheila was down to 8, and that he could no longer nickname her 9 toes. Deacon was just relieved that she would be all right, even though Sheila knew he was being serious and that she was truly down another toe. Liam had some stressful moments in the operating room, but Finn was able to extract the bullet and save his life in the end. Steffi Forrester, Jacqueline McInnes Wood, brought them to the observation window after explaining what had transpired to Hope Logan, Annika Noel, and Carter Walton, Lawrence St. Victor. Steffi, Hope and Carter were glad to hear that Liam had recovered from his operation when Finn later came out and admitted it. Hope sat by Liam's bedside, still asleep, and spoke about how he was still unable to leave them. As Hope sobbed, Steffi ended up giving her a hug, which resulted in a tender moment between them. Steffi raged over all Luna had done and the shooting incident after Poppy Nozawa, Romy Park, was called to the hospital. After Lee showed up, she gave Poppy an explanation of the process and left, figuring Luna would be all right. Lee insisted that Luna passed away while recovering, claiming that they had exhausted all other options. Poppy responded, "Good. I'm glad Luna's dead," to the shocked reactions of Lee and the rest of the waiting room. Naturally, B&B is giving clear indications that Lee is fabricating Luna's death. It is obvious that Lee is lying because Luna will still be on the show in September. According to previews for The Bold and the Beautiful, Lee will need to continue promoting this false narrative, so be sure to take note of any roadblocks. According to spoilers for The Bold and the Beautiful B&B, we must inquire, does Lisa Yamada's character Luna Nozawa have an identical twin? Since a new character named Rana might be included in a major surprise, let's think of a compelling plot point. Since what's happening on screen doesn't match what's coming up, B&B is currently providing some contradicting information. Luna simply flatlined, and it has been verified that she is the patient who dies during operation. But as recently as June 30th, Lisa Yamada was filming at the facility. We know Luna is on the cast list for an episode that will run on September 8th, thanks to a screenplay that Catherine Kelly Lang Brooke Logan shared on Instagram. In light of that, we ought to consider our options here. One possibility is that Luna will appear as a ghost, although a major twist is probably more plausible. Luna's death might be a fake-out, similar to how Tanner Novlan's character John Finn Finnegan died after being shot in the alley. It was later discovered that Lee Finnegan, Naomi Matsuda, had surreptitiously saved Finn, who had appeared to be dead and gone. We don't care too much about the specifics because there are many soap opera ways to get around a fatal exit. Fans may just have to accept Luna's survival story because it is inevitably unrealistic anyhow. Nevertheless, there is still one more choice that can save Luna and ultimately allow her to develop a relationship with Finn. What if the Luna who just went on this crazy outburst isn't actually the real Luna? Luna looked like a cute little angel when she first got to Los Angeles. Luna acted like a completely different person and had a dull romance with R.J. Forrester, played by Joshua Hoffman. Let's take a moment to remember that Luna was a completely different person back then. What if Luna's life was taken over by her evil twin sometime along the line? That would explain why Luna lost her mind and developed the ability to kidnap, murder, and other crimes. This might develop into a plot point reminiscent of the time Steffi Forrester, Jacqueline McInnes Wood, pretended to be Sheila Sharp Kimberlyn Brown by posing as Sugar, also known as Janet Weber. Everyone thinks that this disturbed young lady is Luna, but what if she's not? This leads us to our next clue regarding the script leak. This episode will also include Luna and a character called Rana. Luna and Rana seem like they would make perfect twin names. Perhaps it will eventually come to light that Poppy gave birth to 2 children rather than just one. It's possible that the twins were split up in some way, which is why Rana eventually replaced Luna as an adult. To put it another way, Rana might have been the one who lost control while pretending to be Luna. Like Sheila after Sugar passed away, the real Luna may still be in captivity somewhere. If one did go down, Rana might appear in a few flashback sequences to explain the twin exchange. Although the entire twin scenario would obviously require a significant rewriting, it would be an intriguing angle to pursue. Characters have frequently expressed that they no longer even recognize Luna. Nobody can comprehend how Luna changed from appearing to be so sweet and normal to being able to do such heinous crimes. Will that be explained by a Rana twin switch? When Luna emerges from captivity, will she be given a new beginning? And will Rana be the one killed off? According to spoilers for The Bold and the Beautiful, there will be some shocking Luna news soon. Keep checking back for updates on all the surprises. Tanner Novlan's character, Dr. John Finnegan, will have to attempt to save his own daughter's life this week on The Bold and the Beautiful. However, Steffi Forrester, Jacqueline McInnes, would never forgive her husband if Luna Nozawa, Lisa Yamada, lives. Will he truly be forced to make a decision? Read on to find out. Below are spoilers for what will happen next on BNB. Finn is Luna Nozawa's paternal father in addition to being a doctor who is morally bound by his medical oath to save every patient that enters the hospital. He is therefore in a better position to save her. Does Finn lose his own daughter? There are rumors that someone won't make it through medical operation. According to BNB teasers, Luna will have a serious condition and be barely surviving. Finn can act as both her family and her physician in the event that she needs an organ donor or a blood transfusion. When his wife finds out that he is putting his life in danger to save the girl who just shot Liam Spencer, Scott Clifton, and attempted to kill her, what will she say? The audience is aware that Dr. Finn would never allow a patient to pass away without doing all within his power to save them, particularly if they were his own blood relatives. In the land of the living, Steffi will likely contend that they are all better off without Luna. Even if his daughter committed something wrong, can Queen Steffi really expect Finn to let her die? Steffi can counter that there are other relatives of Luna besides Finn. In theory, Sheila Carter, Kimberlyn Brown, Poppy Nozawa, Romy Parks, Orly Finnegan, Naomi Matsuda, might all save Luna if she requires a donor to survive. Will Finn be able to save his daughter? To please his wife, would he really allow her to die from her wounds? Lee's tone was strangely controlled, as though she had practiced the lie 1,000 times, and her expression was icy as she told the astounding untruth. Luna didn't make it, she said in a scarcely audible but firmly convinced whisper. The recovery room had been a peaceful haven of humming machines and glowing monitors, but all of a sudden it was a graveyard. Lee made sure her eyes were just moist enough to support the narrative. It was untrue. Luna hadn't died. During the course of the night, Luna's vitals had improved and she was breathing on her own. However, Lee had made a deliberate choice, a falsehood that could alter everything, and she made the decision without hesitation at that precise time. Lee had always been an exacting, responsible, and determined lady. However, her sense of righteousness had been distorted into something worse by motherhood, shame, and long-held grudges. She had a motive. Luna believed that by sticking behind Poppy and joining the chaos that Lee had struggled so hard to avoid, she had violated the family's heritage. Lee had been driven to her breaking point by Luna's friendship with RJ, and the influence of outsiders, particularly Sheila. Lee took on the role of puppeteer with surprising ease when Luna's mishap provided her with a window, an opportunity to change the story. Lee just looked like a distraught mother who had done everything she could to the other employees. She gave the nurses instructions to restrict who may view the recovery records. At 2:37 a.m., she created a code blue in the system, marking Luna as deceased. Nobody asked her any questions. She was, after all, Luna's next of kin and a doctor. However, the truth, the living, breathing, and now cognizant Luna, was heavily drugged in a private wing. Lee assured herself that it was for Luna's well-being and protection. It was control, really. Control over what transpired next, control over her future. Meanwhile, Deacon Sharp was having his own troubles at Il Giardino. For the past 24 hours, Sheila had been pacing the floor, curiously hyper-aware of Deacon's phone usage. She had a visceral feeling that Lee was concealing something. Although she had always mistrusted Lee, she could feel the tension growing. Deacon didn't bring roses when he eventually entered the room. He delivered news that was both truthful enough to break Sheila's heart and ridiculous enough to disarm her. Deacon threw himself onto the leather couch and rubbed the bridge of his nose, blurting out, "She's got 8 toes. What?" Not with amusement, Sheila's eyes widened in shock. "Luna. It was stated in the chart." The file was still open on Lee's laptop, even though I wasn't meant to access it. "She's got 8 toes. Which is strange, isn't it? Who, after all, conceals that kind of information?" Sheila narrowed her eyes after blinking. "Why are you examining Lee's files, Deacon? How does this relate to Luna?" Deacon inhaled deeply. The words slammed into the room like a thunderclap. "Because Luna's not dead." Sheila's mouth clenched. Her intuition was correct. "You looked at her file." "I observed her vitals, sedation medication, and daily nurse updates, and she is still alive." "Lee is concealing her," Deacon remarked. Sheila wasted little time in processing. Her thoughts instantly turned to danger, leverage, and motive. What was the play if Lee had lied and Luna was still alive? What did she want to get? Sheila was aware that Lee never took action without a long-term plan. There was no panic here. Luna was the queen piece that was being held captive in this chess game. Poppy sat at home across town, still unable to move from her pain. After hearing the news, she sobbed for hours, her body hurting from the thought of losing her daughter. However, something had felt off. RJ had attempted to reassure her, but he was also uneasy. No obituary announcement, coroner's update, or viewing had taken place. It was just a single confidential communication from Lee that Luna had died early in the morning. Deacon surreptitiously contacted RJ and asked that they meet. When RJ showed up, Deacon didn't hold back. "She is still alive. Lee is telling lies." RJ's heart leaped. "How are you aware?" "I looked at her chart. Luna is under sedation." She didn't adequately hide her tracks once Lee pulled her off the main grid. RJ's head was filled with questions, but rage came first. Why would she tell lies? How is she treating Luna? "I'm not sure," Deacon answered cautiously. "However, I believe we will soon learn the truth." Back at the hospital, Lee was standing outside the private room where Luna slept, utterly oblivious to the mayhem taking on in her honor. Lee's face was unintelligible. She had persuaded herself that she was shielding Luna from Sheila, from Poppy, and from a world that had let her down once before. In actuality, though she was acting in this way to safeguard her own identity, the reputation of authority and moral clarity she had worked so hard to establish throughout her life. Lee's reputation would be damaged if Luna woke up and took Poppy's side, if she went with RJ, or if she revealed the truth about what had transpired during the overdose. She would no longer have the respect she had worked so hard to earn. Thus, she kept her daughter under the influence, out of sight and silent. Time, however, was slipping away from her. Deacon, RJ, and Sheila weren't going to let this go. Deacon went back to the hospital that night pretending to check on a vendor contract. Wearing a courier uniform, he used a keycard he had borrowed months prior to sneaking into the basement. He was astonished to discover that Luna was still very much alive despite being pale and comatose in her room, which had an unlisted doorplate. Her vitals were monitored while N4 dripped steadily into her arm. Deacon took pictures while being cautious not to set off any alarms. He was aware that they only had one shot to do this correctly. Lee's reputation would be damaged if Luna woke up and took Poppy's side, if she went with RJ, or if she revealed the truth about what had transpired during the overdose. She would no longer have the respect she had worked so hard to earn. Thus, she kept her daughter under the influence, out of sight and silent. Time, however, was slipping away from her. Deacon, RJ, and Sheila weren't going to let this go. Deacon went back to the hospital that night pretending to check on a vendor contract. Wearing a courier uniform, he used a keycard he had borrowed months prior to sneaking into the basement. He was astonished to discover that Luna was still very much alive despite being pale and comatose in her room, which had an unlisted doorplate. Her vitals were monitored while N4 dripped steadily into her arm. Deacon took pictures while being cautious not to set off any alarms. He was aware that they only had one shot to do this correctly. Sheila's mouth formed a thin, perilous line as he showed the facts to her and RJ. This woman is completely insane. We are unable to call the police. Not just yet, Deacon said. RJ forcefully stated. We need to wake Luna. If we expose her too early, she'll move Luna or say we're trying to interfere with her care. She deserves to know what's going on. The three of them planned through the night to sneak into the hospital and securely remove Luna from the sedative. Poppy, who was still in grief, didn't know about any of it until RJ showed her the pictures the following morning. Her incredulous scream shook the windows. Is my baby still alive? She is, RJ remarked quietly. Without waiting for approval, Poppy said. But she's trapped. With anger and love lighting her every stride, she marched inside the hospital. Lee attempted to stop her when she saw her, but Poppy pushed by her with rage in her voice. Where is she? My daughter is where? You don't understand, Lee began, but Poppy didn't care. She located the space. She saw her daughter, and her sorrow turned into determination at that same moment. Poppy turned to Lee and muttered, You lied. You gave me the impression that my daughter had passed away. I was defending her. Lee persisted. She would have been dragged back into your pandemonium by you. My daughter is her. Poppy let out a scream. You're scared of losing control. Therefore you don't get to change her life. Security was summoned. Sheila and Deacon watched the drama play out from a distance, but the harm was already done. Now that they knew the truth, the hospital personnel started recording everything. An official report was completed by the attending nurse. Luna's name was added back into the database. The deception had come undone. However, Lee remained unbroken despite Poppy holding Luna's hand and sobbing with happiness and rage. She stayed composed, even defiant. You'll be sorry, she whispered to Poppy. She required a fresh start. You just made sure she won't ever have it. It was a threat disguised as worry. Poppy, however, did not recoil. She had the truth for the first time in a long time. She also refused to let go. Luna stirred later that night. She opened her eyes. Her limbs were heavy, and her vision was fuzzy. She noticed Sheila hovering slightly behind them, followed by Poppy and RJ. Where am I? She whispered. You're secure, Poppy said. The first falsehood was broken with the words, You're home. However, the conflict with Lee was only getting started. Luna first appeared to be just another bright-eyed newcomer to Port Charles. A new face with an intriguing backstory, and an endearing fragility that attracted attention. However, rumors and strange contradictions have recently started to seep beneath the surface of her life, leading to something far more profound than anyone had predicted. It started out quietly, a glance with a stranger in the hospital hallway, a verbal blunder when discussing her early years, and too many instances where she didn't seem quite herself. Now rumors are beginning to circulate that Luna might not be as unique as everyone thought. Could Luna have an identical twin, one that the world is only now starting to see? What part does Rana play in all of this, and who is she, if at all? There is nothing more spectacular in the timing. In Port Charles, Luna has at last started to establish herself. Characters like Trina, Jocelyn, and even Spencer, who recognizes something in her eyes but is unable to identify it, are becoming close to her. Luna is a beloved character because of her warmth, honesty, and struggle to blend in with a community full of complex legacies, but it has also made her more noticeable when something doesn't seem right. Luna has reportedly been seen in 2 locations at once, and has shown a flicker of recognition when she sees someone she says she doesn't know. Initially, friends attributed it to fatigue or stress. However, the idea of a twin, more especially a sister named Rana, now looks less implausible and more like a reality that will soon upend Luna's entire world. Even if Rana is real, her existence begs more questions than it solves. Did they split up at birth? Did Rana grow up in a completely different environment? Could she have been working in the background all along, meticulously planning specific occurrences, while Luna was kept in the dark? One fascinating theory is that Rana has already made an unnoticed appearance in Port Charles by posing as Luna at crucial times. That might account for the odd behavioral changes, Why Luna appeared cold and aloof to Jocelyn one moment, then sobbingly sorry the next. Or how, despite never having been personally engaged, she appeared to know information that was never shared with her, such as specifics regarding previous incidents involving the Corinthos family. Ever aware of the need of safeguarding her family, Carly has begun to pay attention. She has observed Luna's hesitancy when questioned about her history. She has also noticed Luna's abrupt shift in behavior, which includes periods of exceptional assertiveness or manipulation followed by genuine perplexity over what she allegedly said or did. Carly finds it difficult to trust people, and something about Luna doesn't seem right. Although she hasn't accused her yet, she is observing. Additionally, it might be Carly who first exposes the truth, possibly working with Sam or Spinelli to delve into Luna's past and unearth long-sealed documents regarding a twin sister named Rana, possibly linked to a private adoption or worse, a child separation scandal on the black market. This revelation has enormous emotional ramifications. Luna, who was already having trouble figuring herself out, would have to face a side of herself she was unaware of. How would she respond to knowing she had a twin sister who may have been living in her shadow, or worse, influencing her life from afar? And what harm has already been done if Rana has been pretending to be her, whether on purpose or not? To whom has Rana addressed Luna? Who is she lying to? Who is she hurting? Rana's intentions are still unknown though. Is she motivated by retaliation? Feeling jealous? Or is she merely attempting to shield her sister from mysteries that she is still unaware of? Perhaps Rana views Luna as having gotten a better deal because she grew up in a totally different environment. One that was harsher, colder, and influenced by trauma or abandonment. Her actions may be motivated by that resentment, but it may also be a cover for a strong desire for connection. Rana is attempting to reach out to Luna in the only manner she knows how, and while she may be dangerous, she may also be broken. Or perhaps she has no intention of harming Luna. Perhaps she has been attempting to alert her about a darker subject, regarding a shared past that neither of them can truly recall. Nina may be among the only people in Port Charles who can relate to Luna's situation. She is aware of the anguish of losing a daughter twice, as well as the complex reality of family secrets that are maintained for too long. Nina's own memories of being misled, of learning Willow was her kid, and of how deceit destroyed what could have been a happy reunion could be triggered if she gets involved in Luna's story. Luna may find Nina to be an unanticipated mentor who pushes her to learn more, even if it means facing the unpleasant truth. If Rana views Nina as a threat and believes that her influence over Luna is harmful or deceptive, that relationship may even become tense. Now we need to know how long Rana has lived in Port Charles. She has had time to obtain information, create fictitious documents, and possibly even assemble a tiny network of manipulable individuals if she has been watching Luna for weeks or months. What if she is already on the side of someone dangerous, like Cyrus Renaud or perhaps Victor Cassadine's remnants? Rana might be the type of wild card that gives thieves the advantage, allowing them to use her likeness to spread misleading information or worse, approach Luna's loved ones. For example, Trina may be inadvertently confiding in Rana rather than Luna. Or Michael can unintentionally fall into a trap set by her twin when he is approached by Luna regarding ELQ interests. As Luna starts to detect lapses in her memory, moments she can't explain, activities she can't remember, such as texts she didn't send or locations she doesn't remember seeing, the stakes keep becoming higher. She begins to doubt her own sanity as the evidence mounts, including security footage that simultaneously shows her in two different locations, eyewitness reports from strangers, and finally, a terrifying encounter in which she confronts someone who calls her Rana. That encounter, possibly in a hospital stairwell, dimly lit and resonating with tension, becomes the pivotal moment. Luna understands that she is not going insane. There's someone else out there who looks just like her. Jason might be able to help her connect the dots. He has years of experience dealing with people who are hiding behind layers of lies, and he has a keen sense of deceit. Jason might start recording sightings of the enigmatic woman if Luna turns to him in a frantic attempt to find answers and out of fear that she is being followed. Everything could be completely upended by what he finds. DNA testing, hospital documents, and an enigmatic woman posing as a barista at Kelly's or a nurse at GH might all lead to the startling conclusion that Luna and Rana are sisters, twins who were split up years ago under dubious, possibly illegal circumstances. Their final encounter would be emotionally heated. Overwhelmed and deceived, Luna would insist on explanations. Calm yet simmering, Rana would provide tidbits of the truth, but with enough twists to keep Luna off guard. I had to watch from the shadows while you lived the life that should have been mine. It would be a devastating moment, a collision of lost time, unresolved anguish, and the terrible understanding that Rana isn't done yet. You had your chance, Rana may reply. She's not only there to be with you again. She has a strategy, and the focal point of it is Luna. One of General Hospital's most exciting identity mysteries in recent memory might develop from this plot. The canvas would be rippled by the fallout. It would put relationships to the test. Loyalty would come under scrutiny, and it would still be unclear if Rana is a victim, a villain, or something else entirely. As Luna discovers more about her twin, she comes to understand that they are both beautiful and scary mirrors of one another. And only one of them might survive when the time comes for one of them to give up something, whether it's to keep the other from going too far or to safeguard someone they love. Will Port Charles ever know for sure which sister survived, though even at that point,